wanna say, I won't go back. If you wanna hit the road, then let's go then. Let's just go and see the world and just show them what it really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Legends Never Die podcast. This is your host, Hunter Fergie, alongside co-host Matt. Frank on the computer as always, and Dustin's out this week. He's in Panama City, Florida. Wish I was there as well, but he'll be back next week. But we'll run it like we did last week with just me and Matt. We'll start off, we'll jump right into NBA. In our first series out in the East, we have Milwaukee and Toronto. Right now it's Milwaukee 2-1 in the series. Game 4 starting right now in Toronto. Probably going to go Toronto Game 4, but there's a lot of factors that would point towards taking Milwaukee in this game. And then they'll be up 3-1 and it's over from there. So, I don't know. I'm going to still stick with the Raptors winning the series somehow. From what I've seen, I just like the way Kawhi's playing. I think he's the best player right now. And I'm going to go Raptors in 7. I know it's going to be tough to win one in Milwaukee, but I like the way they defended Giannis in that last game. So, I'm gonna go Raptors in 7 out there, and that means they have to win the game right now today.
See, I'm going Bucks, but I'll say 6. I'll say Toronto is gonna get one more, but after that it's over with.
It'd have to be tonight then, for sure.
I think the Bucks win tonight. I don't think the Bucks lose 2 in a row.
And the numbers pointing towards Bucks winning tonight are highly in their favor. They had their worst shooting game basically ever.
And took it to overtime.
Yeah, their starting 5 shot 27%. And Raptors had a 70% assist rate and hit a record high 17 3-pointers and still barely won in double overtime. So the numbers definitely say Milwaukee and probably even 5. But I'm going to still go Raptors. My gut. Just something tells me ride it out. Riding with the Raptors, so got to win this game. We'll see, though. It's a great series and a couple MVP candidates and a couple we have 2 big free agents. We're going to get deep into free agents in a minute, but playing in this game, Kawhi Leonard and Chris Middleton both going to be free agents this summer. We'll talk about that in a little bit, though. We'll slide over to that other series. We had Warriors absolutely dominate, 4-0 sweep.
I think we all knew that was going to happen.
We called it on the show last week. We said 4-1 or 4-0. We said it definitely wasn't going 6 with or without Durant. Any update on that? They said I think they said they're not going to play him until they lose.
I mean, why would you? I honestly think their offense is a lot better without KD. As crazy as that sounds, I think they move the ball a lot better. Draymond steps up. I think it works better. A lot less ISO ball with the Durant.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same team that won 2 out of 3, same team that had the best record ever.
Exactly.
So I don't think they're going to miss much with him next year, especially the $30 million that he ties up with the team, 27, whatever it is. They have money to re-sign Clay then and focus on Draymond, blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, I mean, does this show that Kevin Durant, I know I've talked high on him all year that he's the best player in the world, but I don't know now. Maybe not. Maybe he's really not that guy like everyone thinks.
I mean, he's that guy, but
he'll be that guy with the Knicks next year.
I agree.
But, yeah, he'll be an MVP for sure there. But anyways, I don't know. I like Warriors heading into the finals, though. They're probably going to win back-to-back. I don't think Bucks can hold them as good as they are just witnessing it over these last few days. And Portland's now been swept 3 years in a row. Even though they made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals for the first time since like the year 2000 or whatever, they still got swept 3 years straight. Pelicans swept them last year, Jazz the year before, and then this year. And Rodney Hood's been swept 3 years in a row. That's another bad juju on their team for sure. But yeah, so we'll see Warriors once again for the 5th year in a row. The first time since the 1966 Celtics that there's been a team make the finals 5 years in a row.
They're going to lose to the Bucks, though.
I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're there again with the chance to win, and I think they're going to win 100%. Probably not even 7 games. Depending on the Durant, it's going to be a big ordeal. But
yeah, without Durant, I think they lose in the finals to the Bucks.
Should have been a bold take there. We'll see. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching the game last night, and it was an overtime thriller. And we're sitting there, and you should have saw all the fake-ass Warriors fans in Buffalo Wild Wings, dude. I was laughing so hard at these bandwagon-ass sports fans. I should have marketed the podcast in there to all these fakes. Told them it was a big-time Warriors fan podcast, blah, blah, blah. But so many fakes, dude. It was cracking me up. They were all cheering when they were doing good. They wasn't saying nothing when they were losing. But I'll be damned, they're hitting overtime three-pointers, and they're going nuts in there. I'm like, come on now. Name 5 players. That's how you always get someone. Name 5 players on their team. Especially in NFL. I hate when people do that shit. Dallas Cowboys fans. I'll say name 5 players. Can't even do it. But all right, we'll move out of the finals matchups there. Eastern and Western Conference, and then the regular finals. And we'll move into some of this NBA draft lottery news. Pelicans obviously expected to pick Zion Williamson with the number 1 pick, but that creates a bigger story in itself. Whether or not Pelicans will be able to retain Anthony Davis, we talked a little on it last week, but a lot's developed since then. So I think there's a chance. I think it's moved to a 50-50 now instead of last week where I said 70-30. With the new GM, they're making all kinds of front office moves and their agents talking. And I mean, who's going to turn down $239 million Supermax contract if he stays with New Orleans? The only way you could get the Supermax is if you stay with the team that drafted you, you're all NBA first team for a certain amount of years, and you've played so many years in the league and averaged certain numbers and stuff. So he's due for a Supermax, $240 million if he stays.
That's insane.
But that comes with them not having any money to do anything else. They sign and trade. They sign Zion and trade Davis. That'll open up room for a max player, but it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to want to go to New Orleans. They're not a big market team. So they need to focus on signing Anthony Davis or trading the house for him. Getting the house for him from the Lakers or the Knicks. 2 front runners there. I think it's going to be the Lakers, if anything.
I think they should trade Anthony Davis as well, because logistically it just doesn't make sense for him to sign a Supermax with, I mean, your team's terrible.
But if you have him and Zion.
But Zion.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think
Look,
Zion, I've said it before, I think it's crazy to say this, but I think Zion Williamson is so freaking good that he is a top 10 NBA player right now.
No
And that's
way.
nuts. That's
No
nuts to
way.
say. Because I've heard other people like Kellerman say he's probably not even, or he may be top 50, blah, blah, blah. I think he's a top 10, top 15 NBA player right now.
No.
I think he's that developed, dude. He is about to be so good. He's going to average 20 points a game first year easily, which is more than any rookie this year, Doncic or Trae Young. So he'll average over 20 a game and instantly impact a team. He's going to be one of the best rookies ever, 100% rookie of the year. I'm telling you, dude, he is going to be that guy. With New Orleans by itself, he's probably going to be, the numbers will be better. He won't be a better player than he would with Anthony Davis, but the numbers will be better. Man, I just, as a Pelicans somewhat fan, I like all local teams, and I definitely like Anthony Davis. Please stay. Trading you would be the best thing probably long term, but just sign that Supermax and see what happens with Zion. You could always get traded down the road.
I mean, even with Zion, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I think he just wants to go somewhere that's bigger, more exposure, this and that. Because, I mean, New Orleans, like you said, is not a big market team. So, I mean,
and they don't have money to make future moves. And they're in the Western Conference. And they got to deal with Warriors every year. And now LeBron at the Lakers and all these other teams out west. It's just not looking good for Anthony Davis remaining a Pelicans fan. I'm just going to, or a Pelicans player. I'm just going to have to accept that fact eventually.
Yeah, it's that time.
And while we were just talking about Doncic and other rookies and then the new rookies this year, that'll transition us into something crazy that happened. For the first time since Michael Jordan's draft class in like 1983, the top 5 rookie draft picks from last year, which were Ayton, Doncic, Jaren Jackson, Marvin Bagley, and Trae Young, all 5 were the first 5 all-NBA rookie team.
Okay, let me stop you there. Who you got for Rookie of the Year?
Doncic, 100%.
Yeah, same. I like Doncic.
I think Trae
too.
Young's definitely second.
Yeah.
They were the 2 unanimous. That happens a lot, unanimous Rookie of the Year, obviously. But they were the 2 out of the 5 that were unanimous picks. So, obviously, they're both going to be future Hall of Famers. or they will at least have the potential to. I think Trae Young's a Steph Curry Jr., not as good. Obviously, Curry's the best shooter of all time, so he's not that good. But I like the way he's going to definitely be a 25-point and 10-assist guy eventually. A walking triple-double just like Westbrook without the rebounds. And Hawks have a lot of cap space, and they're going to be good in the future here. And we'll transition here into the next topic. We'll talk NBA free agency. I'll quickly name 9 free agents that I like this year and that are big market names going to big market teams most likely. We got Durant, of course, Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie, Kemba Walker, Jimmy Butler, Porzingis, which is probably going to stay with the Mavs, Middleton, Harris, and Klay Thompson. I'll start out since we were just talking about Doncic, how I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I think with certain pieces around him, they could definitely be a contender in the West eventually. And I think they have a good start with re-signing Porzingis this offseason. And they also have $38 million in cap space, which is enough to go out and sign an elite guard like Kemba or Kyrie, if they'd be willing to go to Dallas and play with Doncic and Porzingis. A lot of people are downplaying that, and they're looking at Knicks, Lakers, and Clippers. But really, Dallas might be the team to look after. I bet you didn't know that, did you?
Kemba to the Mavs.
Kemba to the Mavs with Doncic and Porzingis.
Kemba, dude, he's got to go somewhere where they're going to win, dude.
Yeah, and he's such a high-tempo player. He gets in there with them two. Oh, man, come on. Come on now. That's a perfect setup. And then we'll talk about Clippers real quick. They got $42 million in cap space. They have enough money to go out and sign at least 1 max deal, possibly even 2. A lot of people see it as a potential landing spot for Kawhi Leonard. That's who I could see going there, or possibly even Jimmy Butler. But more likely Kawhi, if anything, because they have the money, and they're already a good team. They push Warriors to 6 games. No one else has pushed them that far yet. Rockets pushed them to 6. But still. And they were a 48-win team last year. Got an 8 seed with what they had, a scrap squad. Come on. Clippers can make a run with 2 free agents.
See, I like it, but if Toronto was to make it to the finals, I see him staying because he's going to want that. He's going to keep wanting to win the East every time instead of go fight the Warriors for the West.
Yeah, we'll see what Clippers do. I don't know if this is their year exactly. But with the money they have, they could return, they said, every player. That's enough money to return every player on their roster. And then they'll start fresh with the salary cap next year and have another go at signing 1 or 2 max contracts. So if I was Clippers, I'd wait again because, they're even if they do sign 1 or 2, I don't think they're contenders in the West no matter what. Not yet.
If they had Kawhi, they are for sure.
I don't know, man. I don't even know if they'd be the best team in L.A., depending on what the Lakers do. And Jimmy Butler could also be a big move there. That's a lot of talk. So we'll see. And then, of course, the biggest name team of all, biggest market team with the worst record last year. Obviously, they tanked on purpose, tried to get the number 1 pick, failed at that, got number 3. So they'll get R.J. Barrett, and they'll start good with him. And they'll start with him and $72 million in cap space. So they have money instantly to go after 2 free agents right now, right off the bat, 2 top-name guys. So I definitely see them making a push for Kevin Durant. I think it's about a 75% chance he goes there, at least 75-80%. And Kyrie, so that's probably going to be your team of the future there.
Kyrie to the Knicks, huh?
They'll get rid of DeAndre Jordan. They'll get rid of Dennis Smith Jr. They'll clear house for Kyrie and Durant to come in, and with R.J. Barrett, and they'll build from there. They're easily a top 3 seed in the East, probably top 2, maybe even a 1 seed in the East with both of them. And then R.J. Barrett, I think he's going to be a superstar for sure, superstar potential. So Knicks definitely have the highest odds of making the biggest moves in free agency, I think, 100%.
See,
and I think that's the best destination for teams to go to. They like what's brewing there, and they just everybody loves New York.
See, I'll tell you what I think.
Best fans in the world.
I think the Knicks should be shopping the number 3 pick with a player package to New Orleans for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, see, if they done that, all hell would break loose.
That, to me, makes the most sense for both teams.
Yeah, I think, but from what I've read, that makes sense, a lot of sense. But their plan A is to use that $72 million for a combination of those 2, Durant and Irving, And Kawhi, they said they're definitely going to target trying to bring Kawhi there too, luring him in. Which two would you take out of the three? Obviously Durant and Kawhi if possible, huh?
Oh, 100%.
You would have 2 top 5 shooters, scorers, and 2 top 5 defenders in the league with
Nasty.
a 3rd overall pick. That would be nuts. It's crazy. A lot of these rules, though, you have to use 90% of your money. So they have to use the money even if they strike out this year and don't get none of those free agents. So they said what teams often do in that situation is buy dead contracts from players that were like big busts this year, and they'll get that team's like first-round picks for the next couple years. Teams do it a lot. So basically they'd buy out a sucky contract for like $20 million, a player that was a bust this year, got hurt or something, and they'd get that sucky team's lottery pick next year. So they'd be trying to beef up because they'd still have all that money next year too to sign 2 more players that they strike out. So all these teams have potential, but it's a lot of guys. There's a lot of pieces of pie. I just mentioned 9 names, and there's a lot more than that. Big name players. So I think we're going to see a lot of moves. Spurs are a team that also can make a move, a surprising move. They could trade DeMar DeRozan, try to get rid of that big money, and have enough money to sign a couple players. So something weird could happen there. And that's really all the teams that can make big moves. Of course, Lakers, their situation isn't as friendly as everybody thinks. They really don't have much money at all. It would require them to cut a few players or trade a few players to be able to sign someone like Kawhi or Klay Thompson or whoever, or Kemba or Kyrie. I know you said before the show you think Kyrie's going to go to the Lakers.
I'd love
It'd
to
require
see it.
them cutting a few people, but it's definitely possible.
Well, like you said, they definitely have to make a trade. I think for them, they're trying to make a trade this offseason and sign someone else. They need a guard. Lonzo's not it right now. He needs to be on the bench.
But they don't have all the money that people think they have.
I know they need to make room for it,
They
though.
need to make room. I forgot their exact situation they're in, but they definitely have room for one max. And who's better than one max than Anthony Davis? I mean, trade away your players, give them the max deal, and then I still think they would have money remaining because they would clear up Ingram's, whatever he's making, Lonzo's $8 million, Ingram's 10 or however many million.
No, I say keep Lonzo for sure.
Nah, they're going to have to get rid of him if they want AD. 100%. Pelicans are going to want Davis, dude. You ought to know that. But that's about it on NBA free agency there. I know we went for a little while there, but it was a lot to talk about. And we'll go over it more as things transition and stuff starts to happen and July 1st gets more near. We're still a couple months away before anything really starts to happen. And we'll go into NFL real quick. We'll talk a few things. Matt told me before the show started I was unaware. Dominican Sue finally landed with a team, and that came with Bucks releasing Gerald McCoy, one of the greatest defensive linemen in this last 10-year span. He was solid, but he was never the best, but he was always good. But finally parted ways with him, and that opened up the big signing.
See, I figured keep both of them, run the 4-3, and pretty much it would be like Sue and Donald last year, not comparing McCoy to Donald in any way, but in a similar fashion.
Yeah, don't compare those two. But that would have been good to do, and Bucks definitely had the money to do it, but whatever's going on over there with their GM and all this,
Well,
he is
Bruce
making
Arians,
foolish.
the new coach.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a
he knows
skeptic.
what he's doing, dude.
I'm a skeptic, and they're in the NFC South, one of the toughest divisions, so.
He'll figure
And they
it
were
out.
a dark horse. Their quarterback freaking sucks. They ain't going to figure shit out.
They
Jameis
gonna get a
Winston
new
is.
one.
I can't wait to start NFL back up because it's my slap season. And y'all know how bad I want to slap Jameis Winston. We get to talk about someone we'd slap every week, and boy, do I want to talk about slapping that boy. But anyways, that was a big move. Reuben Foster tears his ACL. Not too big of news. I mean, everybody knows he's a woman beater and all that, but that's what he gets. That's karma, I guess, there. Hate to say it, but really. Washington, y'all are fucked. I say it every week that some teams fucked. And it's y'all this year, definitely. Y'all have 0 linebackers. Y'all's most experienced linebacker started 16 career games. So y'all are hurt. Teams are going to pick on y'all, especially in your tough division with Cowboys and Eagles up top. 2 playoff teams. But Yeah, Redskins, y'all are screwed. Reuben Foster, you're a loser. Hang it up. Julian Edelman signs a big extension. We had some news on that. Mr. Reliable happened earlier today, right before the show started. Man, that poses the question. Super Bowl MVP, he only made $2 million last year. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's why he got an $8 million signing bonus, you said?
It is, $8 million signing bonus, $12 million in guaranteed money, and it's an extra 2-year extension. So $19 million total in new money is what he's going to make. So they made up for that. Going to give him whatever that is, $9.5 million a year, $6 million a year guaranteed. And I mean, obviously he deserves it. Shit, he might be a Hall of Famer.
Nah.
Dude, I don't know. He has 3 Super Bowl rings. And a Super Bowl MVP and the second most receiving yards in playoff history. He has over 1,400 yards receiving in playoff postseason history. And the number 1 and 3 guys, both Hall of Famers, I'm sure you could guess who they are. Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin. So a lot will go into that. A lot of factor into his case to be a Hall of Famer. And one thing that'll factor in, obviously, is his PED suspension from last year. But talking about that for a second, he missed the first 4 games of the season last year, right?
Right.
Still had 100 catches and 1,200 yards last year.
Damn.
Yeah, 32 years old also. So he is an older receiver. A lot of people think he's younger. Not to mention his 141 yards in the Super Bowl, his MVP there. Next year, he might be a top 10 fantasy receiver without Gronkowski there. Poses the question. He was top 10 the 12 weeks he played in fantasy this year. I remember reading some stuff. I'd take him on my team for sure if he falls 3rd round. I doubt he will, but late 2nd, early 3rd, that's where Edelman will be going. He'll be flying off the charts. He's not a touchdown machine, but he's definitely going to be a 100-catch guy.
League, yeah.
Yeah, 100-catch guy and 1,200 yards at least. And that was missing 4 games. So that's the Edelman news. Patriots just keep getting better. They had a good draft. Got the number 1 receiver, in my opinion, or one of, Keneal Harris. And what else we got? We had Chris Long retire this week. We talked about it in the podcast group chat. He won't be a Hall of Famer, but he was a damn good player. Wasn't ever as good as his dad, but he's better than his brother, so I guess that's something to talk about. Wasn't as good as your dad, but you were better than your brother, so damn, you were pretty good. And then we had, in other news, Peyton Manning, my guy, greatest quarterback of all time. Not really, but I'll never admit it. Tom Brady, screw you. He has an offer potentially, according to rumors, to be the new GM of the New York Jets. I think it'd be a trip, but Adam Scheffler confirms that he's already denied the offer or whatever. But boy, would that be cool to see Peyton already in a high-level management position. GM of New York Jets. It'd be a trip.
Do you think he eventually takes
Will
a
be a
GM
GM
role?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Or he'll be like Elway, VP of Operations, and then move up eventually. He'll definitely be. It wouldn't surprise me if that boy owned a team one day. Tom Brady, same. I think he'll be the same way. Quarterbacks do. Romo, you'll see him eventually hit into coaching and potentially management. A lot of quarterbacks, you'll see that. I think that'll actually become a new common thing as history goes on. But Peyton Manning for sure, his IQ for the game and just his money-wise, management-wise, he's definitely going to eventually be in a position like that. All right, what else we got? We got Pat Peterson. We didn't mention it last week on the show. I think the news broke right before we had started the show, but we skipped over it. Fellow LSU Tiger, one of the only players in NFL history, I think maybe the only defensive player to ever make the Pro Bowl every single freaking year. 8 out of 8 seasons, he's Pro Bowler. Means he's the best damn cornerback in the league. Top 5 every single year, if not one of the best. But, breaking news, sadly, he got a 6-game suspension for PEDs. No one specified exactly what it is, but generally if it's a 6-game, it's something actually like steroids or Turbinol or whatever, HGH, whatever the hell some of the things are they're taking these days. Shooting up their ass. But Pat P, you let me down, man. I'd never expect that out of you, a fellow LSU Tiger. But he'll be back. He'll be better. I think they should just trade him, honestly. They embarrassed him. I was pissed, dude. I was reading the article. He's like, man, they didn't have to release it. He said, we had agreed. I accepted the suspension, didn't appeal it or nothing. I just asked them they wouldn't release the news until after my charity foundation thing. And they released it the freaking day of. How pissed would you be? Or the day before they released that news. He was like, y'all just wait till the day after. Let me do my charity without anything going on, blah, 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 my little event and all this, and then we'll announce it and all that. And the NFL, Roger Goodell, evil ass, does it the day before. That's sad. Sucks. But shouldn't have done steroids, damn it. Shouldn't have cheated. So, no remorse for you, Patrick Peterson. We'll talk about OTAs real quick. Carson Wentz is finally back and I guess healthy. I don't know if he's really 100%, but he is a beast. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league, and they said he's wide open, so we'll see. I look forward to seeing what he got this year, and they've released him to all team activities, full contact, everything, so we'll see what happens. They're going to unleash him. And I hear that he's potentially about to sign the biggest NFL contract in history.
Wentz?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, about to top Wilson or
I don't know.
Rodgers. They had that much faith in him. I mean, he was
He's
MVP candidate. He was going to win the MVP 100% if he didn't get hurt.
Injury prone.
Injury prone, you're right, but quarterbacks are valuable. And he's been on a rookie contract where he's been super underpaid.
Yeah.
And he won the damn Super Bowl. He didn't necessarily, but the team did. He definitely got the team there, aside from Foles carrying him through. He got him that seating and all that position to be there. But yeah, they released him, and then what you had said earlier, Jimmy G, he's finally throwing again.
Yeah, he participated in 7-on-7 today. I mean, that's pretty much all they're going to do in OTAs. No contact yet for sure. He should be. I mean, he's going to be ready to go. I'm excited to see San Francisco, to be honest.
Yeah, their defense, me and Aaron were talking about it last night. They may have the best front seven in the NFL. I was like, damn, thinking about it, probably so.
Well, Bosa just went down with a hamstring today.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I think he'll be back.
Minor, obviously.
Yeah. They're going to make everything seem freaking like a big deal in OTAs. Antonio Brown did not show up for OTAs. What do you expect from a bitch, though? I mean, really? Antonio Brown, you suck, dude. Pissed me off. Probably still draft you in fantasy like I do every year, but you're a bitch. And that's really about it with NFL. We'll get more into it as we get closer to seasons. Season's starting. Can't wait to talk about fantasy football this year and give a lot of predictions. But that's it for now. We'll move into MLB and we'll be quick. Not much going on. We'll start with our top 5 power rankings, and I'll start it off here. I think Astros are obviously the number 1 team in baseball, maybe even better than they were in 2017 when they were the World Series champions. And I think we see a 2017 World Series rematch. I got Dodgers coming in at number 2 in my power rankings and going to be taking on Astros in the World Series once again. Obviously, Astros number 1. Their lineup's just unreal like we always talk about. I got Dodgers at number 2 because their lineup. Bellinger's going to be the MVP in the NL most likely if Yelich isn't, or he'll be runner-up at least for sure. He's batting over 400. The lineup's solid, and then you have your pitchers coming along now. Ryu is pitching unreal, or however you say it. He's on I think it's a 31-inning scoreless streak, so look at that next time he pitches for a potential bet for all our sports bettors out there. And I like Dodgers there, too, like I had said. Number 3, this is a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Cubs. Chris Bryant's been on fire, and Kyle Hendricks is pitching out of his mind. Yu Darvish had a good start the other night with 11 strikeouts, so Cubs are my number 3. So that's Astros, Dodgers, Cubs. Number 4, I'm going to give to the Twins. I'm believing in the hype. I think they're going to win the NL Central for sure this year. Indians definitely slacking. Long as nothing happens pending any injuries, and long as their pitching at least keeps it up, I think they're your number 4 team. And then number 5 is tough. I think it could be any 3 of the teams out in the AL East. Boston, Yankees, or Rays. As a Boston fan, I want to give it to Boston, but I got to give it to Yankees just because what they're doing being so short-handed right now. I'll give them my 5 spot. So that rounds me off with Astros, Dodgers, Cubs, Twins, and Yankees is my top 5.
That's where you're wrong. The Yankees are going to be 2 for me. Astros 1, Yankees 2, Dodgers 3, Red Sox 4. Sale's been coming along amazing his last 3 starts. And then I'll go Twins 5 just because they have one of the better records in the league.
So you got Yankees all the way in the twosy.
Their whole team's hurt and they're still performing.
That dude that's took over for Torres who is it? Andujar this last week. I can't remember his name. He has a weird ass name. Batting .350 right now this season. Urshela, yeah. That dude's freaking slugging, bro.
Oh, dude, he's a
solid.
beast. He's a beast.
Yankees just come up with whatever, man. I don't know. It's that unlimited bankroll, I guess. If you have unlimited funds, you can put together a pretty good damn team eventually. But yeah, I like Yankees at 5. You like them at 2. That's bold. We both think Twins are for real, and we both agree that Astros are the best team in baseball and most likely your World Series winners this year. We definitely need to go catch a game next couple weeks. We ought to go for sure.
I'm down.
We hadn't been to one this year, and we at least go to 3 or so a year. So we got to go. And what else we got in baseball? Our big boys, Yelich and Springer, 2 of the best sluggers in the game right now, both with back injuries, back spasms, I think, and back tightness for Springer it is. And hopefully we don't see them both hit the DL. I don't know. Back injuries are usually pretty cautious. You want to be with those. So I don't know.
They've been playing a lot, so it could just be a little soreness, whatever. But
yeah, they've both been freaking raking, swinging out of their shoes.
They're just
that's
swinging
typical
too
when you
good.
hit damn near 20 home runs in 50 games.
Yeah, you're just swinging too good. They had to slow you down somehow.
But yeah, that's it with baseball. We'll wait till Dustin gets back to get deep into that. So we'll about wrap it up there. I'll go quick on UFC to end it like always. Not much news here. We had the past fight this weekend. We had Kevin Lee fight Dos Anjos at 170. It was a good scrap between, I think, the number 4 and 5 contender. So that puts Dos Anjos back up top, ready for another shot at somebody. But who? The division's so stacked. Maybe Robbie Lawler now that Woodley's pulled out of the fight, and that'll bring us into that. Woodley's out with a hand injury. He supposedly hurt his hand before he ever got his ass whooped by Kamaru Usman, but everybody says that after you get your ass whooped that something was wrong with you. But he decided to pull out. He said he didn't want to risk it against Robbie Lawler fighting with a hurt hand. He said his right hand's his moneymaker, so he didn't want to lose that. And a lot's going on there. They moved Ngannou and Junior Dos Santos up. That's going to be a scrap. 2 freaking behemoths, heavyweights. They're going to be fighting in replacement on that card. So that's a good fight to replace it with. We had a few Bellator news. Michael Venom Page, a lot of people had heard of him. He was a top contender. He was undefeated in Bellator, which is the second best fighting organization for those that don't know. A lot of Bellator fighters become UFC fighters or vice versa. UFC fighters will get old and go to Bellator and not get paid enough, and Bellator will take them on. But Michael Venom Page finally got knocked out. Look up the video, MVP knockout. It was disgusting. Fellow UFC fighter Douglas Lima freaking killed him, swept him out with a leg kick, and had the cleanest knockout I've ever seen on the jaw. So y'all look that up. Michael Venom Page knockout. I'll attach a video if I can. And then Sage Northcutt, who everybody knows, Super Sage. He was fighting in the UFC. He was a big top prospect, real flashy guy, whatever, pretty boy. Got knocked out so bad in his one fighting debut. Also, look at One Fighting. They're on the come up. All these smaller fighting organizations, a few former UFC champions over there. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who was number 1 pound-for-pound UFC fighter forever, is over at One Fighting Championship. Eddie Alvarez, who McGregor took the belt from at 155 just 2 years ago. He's at One Fighting Championship. So look forward to their fights. Check them out sometimes. And that's about it on UFC. Khabib mentioned that he wants to fight 3 times coming up. He said he wants to fight Poirier in September. He wants a McGregor rematch in December. And he said whoever in March of next year. So Khabib said he's ready to get paid, boy. He about to make a little run at like $5 million in 3 straight title defenses. So we'll see. He's trying to go 30-0. He might be the best damn UFC fighter ever, if that's the case. If he beats Conor McGregor 2 times and then beats Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier, some of the other guys that he's already beat, he's the best ever, 100%. Aside from maybe John Jones. But that's it on UFC. And only thing in golf we had was Brooks Koepka. He won the PGA again 2 times in a row. He won last year. Tiger played shitty. Dustin Johnson made a run but fell short as always, because he always does that. He can never freaking win. He always gets second place. But Koepka did his thing. He's a young top prospect. I think he may be the number 1 golfer in the world. I don't follow it too much, but only 29 years old and's already won 4 majors. So he's solid. Look for him on the come up, and betting-wise for all our bettors, he was a good play. He was a plus to win it again this year, and he was the favorite, but still a plus. So golf's oftentimes good bets, but we'll wrap it up there. But first, before we leave, let's give a quick shout-out to our sponsor, Legend Gear and Apparel. Go check them out at legendgear.co. A little story about some of their products. I got my sunglasses stole the other day, my Ray-Bans, out of my truck. So I was like, let me go on the Legend Gear site and buy me some shades. I know they advertise shades. Got on there, bought some shades similar to my Clubmaster Ray-Bans, looked identical. For $20, use the discount code LND10 for podcast viewers. Got 10% off with shipping, free shipping on top of that. So I got my shades for $20 exactly, and they're just as good, just as high quality as the Ray-Bans, swear. Believe they'll last as long, everything, but they have a lot of good stuff over there. Apparel, the shades, wallets, phone cases, all kinds of good stuff. So go check them out. And then check out the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and Facebook, Instagram. You can find us everywhere. SoundCloud, iTunes, all at Legends Never Die Podcast. And we'll see everyone next.
Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, 'cause we're golden.